A shakeup in Great Britain being felt worldwide. We have the vote and to remove the UK and what it means for you. Dozens of people are burned and some even hospitalized after walking over coals in North Texas. But the event organizers say there was nothing wrong.
And of course, our friend Mr. Sunshine back with us today. He'll stay with us through the weekend, but we could have some rain chances in our future. I know you want to hear about that. We'll talk more coming up as East Texas News Midday starts now.
Caring, committed, proud of East Texas. You're watching East Texas News at Midday.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us for East Texas News Midday. Stock markets across the world are in a slump this morning after the election across the pond, which will remove Britain from the European Union. The reverberations from Britain's decision, referred to as Brexit, are being felt in the U.S., not just economically, but politically as well. ABC's Ray Ramundi joins us with what it could mean for you from New York.
There's an international spotlight on world markets from the U.S., China, Germany, and especially Great Britain. And now economists are bracing themselves over this referendum vote that could impact your financial savings. An earth-shattering decision made by the people of the United Kingdom.
The British people have spoken, and the answer is we're out.
The first political casualty of this vote, Prime Minister David Cameron.
The British people have made a very clear decision to take a different path. And as such, I think the country requires fresh leadership to take it in this direction.
An overwhelming 17 million UK voters deciding to exit the European Union. The referendum exposing Britain to be sharply divided. Those supporting the exit, part of the sweeping anti-establishment sentiment, angry about immigration and control of borders.
If ISIS can get into Turkey, there's no reason ISIS can get across Europe and get into England, and we could have a Paris thing, a Belgium thing.
The vote to leave the European Union sending shockwaves through the world economy. And right here in the United States, investors in absolute panic.
Very, very difficult day indeed. That said, various authorities have been working hard post-Lehman in order to build up the resilience of the world's financial system.
The impact being felt right here in the U.S. American 401k investments and retirement savings could all be at risk, especially for those who plan to retire in the immediate future.
You likely will see that impact in your 401k. The average 401k retirement savings account in this country would lose about $2,700.
And the United Kingdom will be the first major European country to leave the Union since it joined some 48 years ago. It will take at least 2 years for the UK to negotiate its separation from the European Union. The vote in the UK is now a topic on the campaign trail here in the U.S. Hillary Clinton says economic uncertainty, quote, underscores the need for experienced leadership in the White House. Republican Donald Trump has praised the Brexit vote. The British people have, quote, taken back their independence, he said. Trump is actually in Scotland today and spoke about the historic vote.
Would you support the breakup of the European Union? Because that seems to be what would happen.
Well, it looks like it's on its way, and we'll see what happens. I could see it happening. I have no opinion, really, but I could certainly see it happening. I saw this happening. I could read what was happening here, and I could see things happening in Germany.
Trump is actually in Scotland to visit 2 of his golf courses there. New this morning, we're getting a clearer picture of the next step for the Smith County Commissioner's Court after the suspension of County Judge Joel Baker. In an agenda released this morning for their Tuesday morning meeting, commissioners will discuss and possibly take action on appointing an acting county judge. This all comes after County Judge Joel Baker was suspended without pay this week by the State Commission on Judicial Conduct. The commission, which Baker used to vice chair, issued that suspension after Baker was indicted on 3 counts of violations of the Texas Open Meetings Act. Dozens were treated for burns after walking over hot coals at a motivational seminar in Dallas last night. Ambulances were lined up outside the convention center in downtown just after 11 o'clock. Those who were more seriously injured were taken to the Parkland Hospital Burn Center. The event was actually part of a Tony Robbins motivational seminar. Organizers say more than 7,000 people participated in the walk without injury. And they say although it may not appear that way, it was a, quote, successful event. Another Fort Hood soldier who died after a training accident turned deadly has been laid to rest. Specialist Yingming Soon was buried at the Central Texas Veterans Cemetery. His funeral ceremony was carried out in Chinese to accommodate his family. After a touching message from Specialist Soon's chaplain, he was honored with a 6-gun salute and the playing of taps. His family was then presented with American flags for his service. We spoke with Soon's chaplain, who says Soon came here to live the American dream.
He was a very optimistic person, very happy, faithful friend. He likes the military lifestyle. Came to the country to seek for a better life.
Soon was just 25 and would have turned 26 next month. His life was cut short after the tactical vehicle that he and 11 other soldiers were riding in on June 2nd overturned in a flooded creek. The woman accused in the drowning death of her 3-year-old nephew is due back in court this morning. Billie Jean Cutler, along with her then-boyfriend, are charged with capital murder in connection to the drowning death of Mason Cutler. An Angelina County judge has ordered a second competency exam for Cutler after the first showed that she was incompetent to stand trial. Court records appear to show the second exam will be the issue at hand today. If it contradicts the first exam, Judge Paul White said he may have to set up a hearing regarding her competency. Nacogdoches Independent School District Superintendent Fred Hayes has resigned. That resignation was approved at last night's school board meeting in a 4-to-1 vote. Nacogdoches parents and school district staff have been critical of Hayes' leadership in recent months, citing 2 failed school bonds and a new zoning plan. Hayes was hired by the district in 2011. We're told his resignation takes effect June 30th. Almost a quarter of East Texas kids don't know where their next meal is coming from. That's according to the East Texas Food Bank. The group says that alarming number is why they're trying to feed more kids as this year's summer food program heads into its 2nd month. Our Alex Osiris spoke with a volunteer about the growing number of children at one serving spot in Tyler.
If it wasn't for these trays of pizza, oranges, and milk, these kids lining up may go hungry. Charlotte Robertson is a volunteer at a serving location for the summer food program on Queen Street in Tyler.
It just makes me feel good because we're doing something to benefit them. Some of the kids don't have anything to eat for lunch and breakfast is home.
She's also a grandmother who brings her grandson to the park for lunch and to play with the kids his age.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I love to spend time with him. Yes.
The East Texas Food Bank says the number of kids living with food insecurities has stayed constant the last couple of years, with some peaks when school's out. Robertson says this summer she's seen a few new faces.
They love to be here. Some of them be here in the morning before breakfast even makes us. They're here waiting.
And it's not just the food, but it's a way for kids to get exercise and socialize, she says.
By the time they make it home, they're tired and all they need is a bath and to go to sleep.
Which they're able to do all summer long. Alex Osiris, East Texas News Midday.
There are more than 60 serving locations across East Texas operating this summer, with many going until early August. Well, you definitely want to stay hydrated if you are headed out and about this weekend. Our Cedric Haynes joins us in the First Alert Weather Center. Cedric, the heat continues today, but you were ready for that, right?
Oh, of course, Taylor, and I'll tell you what, it's good to see you here, by the way. We are talking about heat and humidity this afternoon. We're going to fire up the pool for you, and hey, make sure you dip in and out pretty quickly there. Get the sunscreen as well. We're talking temperatures in the mid-90s this afternoon. Feels like numbers over the triple digits. We'll have more on this heat, the humidity, and when some relief could be on the way in just a moment, but let's take a look at your Grant Planner Weather Net site first. At Lufkin Middle School, those puffy cumulus clouds trying to bubble up, but don't worry, no rain is expected. Details after the break.
First Alert Weather is sponsored by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Well, happy Friday, East Texas. Getting ready for the weekend. We're talking about the 3 H's. You know the three amigos. Hot, hazy, and humid weather sticking around across the area. The good news is, as we get towards the end of the weekend, heading into next week, we're talking about the potential, and I do mean just the potential at this time, of a few fronts that could make their way towards East Texas. Now, we're not talking about much in the way of cooler air, but we could see a couple of scattered showers making their way across the area, which would be nice, something to change up and mix up this atmosphere a little bit. And of course, it could turn a little more active next week, so we'll be fine-tuning and watching that for you in the coming days. Outside now, we've got blue skies, just a gorgeous afternoon, at least the way it looks when you check out the window. But as you take a look at the temperatures, yeah, it's still warming up out there. 86 degrees in Tyler, but the only good news I have for you, look at the dew point in the upper 60s. Remember, the past couple of days they've been in the 70s, so this means the slightly dry air is working its way in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. So instead of a feels-like temperature that's way up in the mid-90s right now, they're only at about 90. So we'll take the small things. It's the small things in life, right, that make us excited, and that's one for you during the summertime months here for you. Now, let's take a look at the temperatures out there. We've got the mid-80s showing up across the region, 88 in Canton, 86 in Henderson, 85 Longview, and 86 degrees currently in Lufkin. When you factor in the humidity, here's what it actually feels like on the exposed skin when you step out the door. Again, upper 80s to lower 90s now, as opposed to those mid and upper 90s we were dealing with the past couple of days. Feeling like it's about 95 in Canton, but 88 degrees is what it feels like in Athens. 93 Lufkin, it feels like it's 90 currently in Nacogdoches. A look at First Alert Live Doppler radar. Yeah, all is clear out there, minus a few thin cirrus clouds. We are looking A-OK, and some of those cumulus clouds are beginning to bubble up across the region. We'll expand the view across the state. Yeah, we could have some clouds down here to our south trying to move in with some moisture, but it's running into a wall. Same thing for the showers that we had earlier this morning in Oklahoma and Texas. It's this big high-pressure ridge. We call it the Ring of Fire. That's my buddy Johnny Cash. He told us that, and it's calling for hot and dry weather around the Ring of Fire, though. We're getting stormy weather across the upper plains, dropping down into the southeast. That will not affect us. So let's say you want to head out towards the west maybe today. Great weather to catch some baseball. Blue skies expected. Heading out, the Rangers taking on the Boston Red Sox this evening. A start of a new series, I do believe there. 7:05 first pitch. Woo! Make sure you hydrate early and often. We're talking first pitch temperatures of 94 degrees. And folks, let me tell you something. I don't know if you've been to Globe Life Park or not, but make sure you get the sunscreen, SPF 30 or greater. You'll burn in less than 10 minutes, especially sitting out in the direct sunlight. Sunshine, hot weather, that's going to be with us through the weekend, but this ridge may shift to the west a little bit heading into next week. That can allow for this backdoor front to try to sneak into the area. That could give us a good chance of some scattered showers and maybe a couple of rumbles of thunder by Tuesday of next week. That's a day to circle on your calendar. Talking about maybe up to a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain. Fingers crossed. Mostly sunny skies, very warm and humid today, 95 for your high, 77 tonight, mostly clear, warm, and muggy. Your First Alert 7-day forecast, the 3 H's, Taylor, hot, hazy, and humid weather on the way, all the way through the weekend, but next week, a little glimmer of hope with a few scattered showers possible by Tuesday.
Hazy, hot, and what was it? Humid.
Humid, that's
was
right.
The third one, okay.
The three amigos.
And then a glimmer.
And glimmer.
You got it all
That's
this morning.
Right. Hey, you know, I'm trying to put a little something for everybody
I appreciate
in there.
that, Cedric. Thank you. While it is dry here in East Texas, people in West Virginia are dealing with this. Lots of flooding. Residents were forced to evacuate after the river in Nicholas County rose so much it blocked a road there in that area. First responders had to use boats to get crews back to make sure people were safe.
As far as I know, of course, you can see they're bringing in the swift water rescue. I can't get home. I live on Riverside. I'm stuck pretty well. I can't get in, can't get out.
It's the worst I've ever seen, and I've seen stuff floating down the river. And we had a flood, and I think it was in 2003, and it's nothing like this.
Crews say they have no idea how long it will take for waters to recede and get things back to normal. An Arizona woman is in the midst of a rental home nightmare. It's so bad she's considering selling her house. Carla Jetton lists her vacation home in Arizona on Airbnb. She came home from vacation to find fecal stains on the bedspread, holes in the wall, and profanity spray painted across her garage wall. Today on East Texas News at 4, you will hear from her, and just wait until you see the review the person who did all this left online. Simple questions that could lead to cancer prevention, what they are, next in Med Team News, here on East Texas News Midday. In Med Team News this morning, in the fight against cancer, new treatments and important research often come to mind. But what if you, yourself, could keep cancer away before it even starts? With more on that, here's ABC News senior medical contributor, Dr. Timothy Johnson.
It's an old story. Your doctor tells you to keep a healthy weight, stay physically active, eat a good diet, and limit your alcohol. But what if they also told you these steps might mean you wouldn't get cancer? This is the message of a new review from the American Association of Cancer Research. Scientists looked at a dozen studies comparing people who followed these common sense recommendations to those who did not. And it made a difference, a big one. Those who stuck to these lifestyle guidelines developed fewer cancers and died less often from cancer. as much as 61% less often. Since an estimated 1.7 million Americans will be diagnosed with some form of cancer, it's worth paying attention. In addition to preventing cancer deaths, the researchers say if everyone followed these tips, it could prevent 1 in 5 of these cancers from occurring in the first place. That's not even including quitting smoking, which will drastically lower the chance of lung cancer. So if you thought cancer was always just being dealt a bad hand of cards, remember, you can stack the deck in favor of your own survival. With this Medical Minute, I'm Dr. Timothy Johnson.
Donald Trump's trip overseas didn't go quite as planned. After the break, find out who had to be escorted from his trip to Europe press conference and why the investigation of an Egypt Air crash may take a lot longer than we expected. The latest setback from investigators next on East Texas News Midday.
Hello, East Texas. This is Keith Miller. I've practiced law in Tyler since 1990. Don't tell the insurance company about your car's value. Don't tell the insurance company whether you have health insurance. Don't tell them if you really didn't see the other car. And please, oh please, don't tell them I'm just shaking up. I don't think I'm hurt. What you can tell them is I'm not going to talk to you because I hired Keith Miller. He used to be a claims adjuster. You can do that by calling these numbers.
Principal office located in Tyler, Texas.
TJC, here's how it goes. This is you. You're ready to choose your path. This is us. One of the top colleges in the nation. And it's only 1/3 of the cost of most state schools. You apply, you get in, you choose a major. Maybe engineering, perhaps musical theater, or nursing, or power plant technology. At TJC, we've got it all, with more than 120 degree programs and certificates. You get involved, play for the team, beat the drum, all while getting the education you need. Tyler Junior College, you're ready for this.
UT Tyler Cowan Center is celebrating its 20th anniversary season with spectacular shows and comedic star power. Jeff Foxworthy, Jerry Seinfeld, Jay Leno, Jackie Ivanko, Jim Brickman, Ben Carson, Cirque Dreams Holidays, Broadway, and more. Buy season tickets now. Call 903-566-7424 or visit cowancenter.org.
On Tuesday, I buried my dentures under 23 tons of cement. And I really freaked out because I needed my mouth for a very important event. So I called Aspen Dental, got in right away, and they made my new choppers in just a few days. And thanks to that service, I'm happy to say I ate the most hot dogs in history today.
With dentures starting at just $3.99 and ready in days, not weeks. Dentistry's never been easier. Call 1-800-ASPEN-DENTAL.
Welcome back. A British comedian has been kicked out of a news conference with Donald Trump. Trump is in Turnberry, Scotland today to open his new golf resort. As he was about to speak, Lee Nelson stood up and attempted to hand out red golf balls with Nazi swastikas on them. About 24 golf balls were all over the lawn. Secret Service agents blocked Nelson, and he was quickly escorted out by Scottish agents. 2 U.S. soldiers have been charged with smuggling 2 Mexican citizens across the border. Marco Nava Jr. and Joseph Cleveland were arrested at a Border Patrol checkpoint last week. According to documents, Nava admitted that he and Cleveland were paid $1,000 each for the first trip, and they were going to be paid another $1,500 for the second trip. Aircraft wreckage, potentially from a missing Malaysia Airlines flight, has been found on an island off the East African coast. Australian transport officials say that a piece of aircraft debris had been found off an island off the coast of Tanzania. He said the Australian Transport Safety Bureau, which is conducting the search on Malaysia's behalf, is seeking further information to determine whether the debris is from Flight 370. Several pieces of that plane have washed up over the past year on coastlines all around the Indian Ocean. Officials now say the flight recorders from crashed Egypt Air Flight 804 are so badly damaged, Egyptian investigators can't pull any info from them. The so-called black boxes were found in the Mediterranean Sea last week, about 200 miles north of Alexandria, Egypt, at a depth between 8,000 and 10,000 feet. The equipment is now on its way to France, where experts there will try to download some of the data, hopefully. Cedric Haynes has a final check on your weekend forecast after the break, next on Midday. 4 new movies head to theaters this weekend, but can aliens or even a shark outswim Dory to the top? Rick Damigella has a preview and now showing.
It's definitely bigger than the last one.
Bigger, yes, but don't expect the aliens to win this weekend. Led by a mix of the original movie's veterans along with newcomers to the war, Independence Day Resurgence is bringing the fight to over 4,000 movie screens this weekend, but that won't be enough to outswim current box office champ Finding Dory. Entertainment Weekly box office analysts are forecasting a $55 million opening for Resurgence, which is nowhere close to a predicted $80 million second weekend for Dory.
30, 40 yards. It takes him 32 seconds.
It's Blake Lively versus a shark in The Shallows. Variety's pundits peg this fishtail at a $7 million opening, while EW is more generous, saying it will gobble up $15 million.
From this day forward, we declare the land north of Pascagoula Swamps to be a free state of Jones.
Oscar winner Matthew McConaughey is back in theaters for the first time in nearly 2 years in Free State of Jones. Based on a true story of Newton Knight and his rebellion against the Confederacy during the American Civil War, Jones is predicted to open anywhere between 9 and 13 million.
You know what my mother used to call me? Dangerous.
The Neon Demon was booed by critics but given a lengthy standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival. The psychological thriller from Drive director Nicholas Winding Refn has proved controversial for sequences of cannibalism and necrophilia. The Neon Demon is only lighting up 700 screens, with Variety predicting a $2 to $3 million opening. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Really what we need is just a camera on you reacting to these movies.
I mean, I tell you what, there's some special ones coming. A lot of different genres.
Yeah, what's going on?
Oh, it's hot and humid outside. 88 degrees. Look at that dew point, though. In the 60s, a little drier air. So heat index value is not too bad as we go throughout the day. It'll stay hot and humid throughout the day. Warm, 95 degrees. That's the key phrase there. But we finally may have something else to talk about heading into next week. With a backdoor front. We call it a backdoor because it sneaks in from the back door.
Got it.
Way. Yeah, and so we could see a few showers.
I have all the lingo now. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on East Texas News at 4. Have a great Friday afternoon.